Did Karen take real accountability? Is this accountability? Is it Karen versus the Grand Dame? Or is it her trying to figure out how to get back on the show? Now, as a therapist, there were so many different things, and I feel like I've noticed and I've been paying attention that we have gotten to a point where we romanticize things that should not be romanticized. Depression, manic episodes, all these different things getting released from jail. It felt like at times Karen walked off a Delta flight, that she wasn't in prison. She wasn't there for 6 months. It really felt like we were romanticizing prison. Okay. And not really addressing some things. So I want to get into it from a therapist perspective. But if you are new here, stay. I'm Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I specialize in people healing from emotionally mature parents, trauma, and how all that thing shows up. All those things show up in your life. So hit that like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. You never want to miss one of my videos. Okay. Now, I took a lot of notes. Watching Karen walk out of the prison, my initial thoughts were, where her kids? Where's her husband? And for the most part, I'm like, okay, it could have been a lot of hoopla that she didn't want her family involved in, the cameras, all those things. But then once we got past the prison, I'm like, well, why didn't her husband like meet her somewhere? Why wasn't he sitting in the car? Those are my initial thoughts. Where was the support system? And how over time I started to see, oh, I see why. I see why. But we watched Karen be released and be swift away in a private car. Cameras are set up by Bravo. There's a couple news people there, no fans. Okay, no fans. And it could have been because people didn't know that she was going to be released. But she comes home and opens that door and she runs into her daughter's arms. Now, that to me was a very loving moment, but I also know she hugged her sister and her child before her husband. Okay. And throughout this interview, I wonder if we were playing the blame game. Okay. And we were blaming our behaviors. Are we really taking accountability? Okay. See, the thing is, let me tell you. See, Andy. See, the thing is, now am I watching a Darman video or what? But watching her embrace her daughter, I'm like, okay, so it was the children who kept her alive. And as a mother, I could see that. But I still was wondering and watching, how come I didn't see more of her husband? I saw the son say he was taking up and taking responsibility as a man. I heard her daughter speak about things, coming to visit her. But it feels like there's an elephant in the room. And I don't know if Karen is in a place to really, truly take accountability, walk in her truth, and honor it. I feel like I watched a romanticized version of someone going to prison. Shit, even Orange is the New Black showed the real deal about prison, the different things, more than I feel like a real life person who was sitting in the cell. Okay. Now Andy shows up and he's talking to her son. And he's like, let me pull you for a chat. Okay, Karen, come over here. Let me pull you for a chat. Okay. And Karen says that she never watched the video. Okay. She never watched the video.
You said
because I hadn't seen it, I was still in denial and still under the influence.
Under the influence of what?
Prescriptive drugs and drink.
And drink. And drink. Okay. And drink. And let's talk about this. Her words. I feel like there are a lot of people who are Karen, running from their trauma, haven't been able to face it, who are high functioning alcoholics, who are high functioning people who are dealing with depression and anxiety. But that word alcohol is not going to come out my mouth. I am depressed. Not me. It can't come out my mouth. Alcoholic, no. But the pills, I can admit to I was taking pills and medications because I can put that onto the doctors. That wasn't by choice. Those things were prescribed to me. So, not saying Karen in particular, but I think people can blame, they can blame the pills because it's connected to someone else's action decision, someone telling me I needed this medication. And at some point, we have to turn it on ourselves and think about, well, yes, it was prescribed to me, but I chose to still take those things. And Karen talks about upping the dose. And she's had multiple incidents. Once again, I can't put it on, I have been drinking and driving. I have had multiple incidents. And to me, that's like, you're not ready yet. Jail was not your rock bottom. And I don't think that Karen has really hit her rock bottom yet. And it's kind of sad because you would think after such a publicized incident, okay, that she could have hurt somebody else. She could have permanently hurt somebody else. And all the people who watch the show who have been left behind because their family, their friends, loved ones have been taken away from them because someone chose to get behind the wheel instead of calling an Uber, instead of calling a private car, because they were hurting so much that they want to end their lives. So in the process of you making a choice for yourself to not want to be here anymore, you took my family member with you. And she said she's grateful that she did not hurt somebody else. But I'm like, I get that, but there's something missing. And I think the thing that it's missing is real accountability. Because this Karen right here is the same Karen from Potomac. She went upstairs, put on a wig, got her makeup done, wore an outfit, using the same words and verbiage, the same poise. She stepped right back into the Grand Dame. And I'm still looking for Karen the person. And I think we got bits and pieces. But I still think the public is only going to get so much of me. Y'all not going to see the vulnerability. At least in this instance right now. There's still I have to keep this image. And it felt, I think this was a week after she got out of prison. This is how you're going to carry yourself. This is how we're going to prepare you. These are the words we want you to use in the tone. It felt a la Olivia Pope. Even watching Annie step out of the car into her home, it felt kind of Scandal. It had that little Scandal vibe a little bit. It was scandal coded a little bit. All right. But in my eyes, and she talks about her trauma, the trauma at 19 years old, having her innocence taken away from her at 19, and then going back home and being gaslit by her family that it never happened. And we as Black women have to put on that superwoman cape and act like nothing happened and go on with our lives. And there are a lot of women who've been through that kind of trauma by a family member, a friend, a stranger. And you get up and you get dressed, you discard your clothes. Some of you guys might not even go to the hospital, might not go to the police, and get up like nothing happened. And I think a lot of you will wake up, if you have not already, like this. Okay. Barely scratching the surface. Okay. Now she talks about going to therapy when she was in rehab. Was it a spa or was it rehab? Okay. I also wonder if she had a therapist while she was in prison. Okay. Because it sounds like her therapist is what convinced her, in her words, to watch the video of that evening. I still just don't believe that she never saw the video. It's hard to believe. Okay? It's hard to believe. But I think there are a lot of people who are high functioning addicts, people living with high functioning depression, and it's just easier to try and escape it through substances. And Karen talks about that evening of the incident, okay, that she wanted to escape. Her children were gone, her and her husband were not in a good place, and she just wanted to get away. I don't know if that's completely all of it. Okay. I don't know if I believe that that's all of it. All right. She's like, I don't drink and drive. I have incidents. I've had she said 2 DUIs and the rest were incidents. And I think, when people get away with, driving on the influence of something and it's just washed away, or, okay, you're Karen Huger, you're whoever you are, you can just, you're a regular person. The incidents make you believe, oh, I can keep doing it. I can get away with it. There are no repercussions. I didn't hurt nobody this time. Okay. And there's a separation to me for Karen, a separation between the incidents and the DUIs. Because the DUIs are on paper, so you guys can call me out about that. But the incidents two of them she talks about, but I believe that there are probably other incidents that we'll never know about. Some of your cast members might know. But I think there's still a disillusionment of how deep this was. And am I ready to really do the work? Pull back the layers on that 19-year-old self that's still stuck inside of me that I haven't acknowledged, that I need to heal from. And healing from the grief of losing my parents. Because she discusses how she increased the dosage of some of these poppy things you pop in your mouth to help her cope with the passing of her parents. So more of running away. And I want people to recognize you got to stop running. You got to stop running. And I think throughout the interview, Andy was clocking her. He didn't believe everything she was saying. He's like, that Andy stare of, okay. Now I'm going to go to my cards, but okay, Karen. Okay. Another aspect of this is her going to jail, prison, her going to prison and going there to work on herself, but healing other people. Okay. She talked about becoming a mentor to these young girls. I think she was she was teaching AA or NA, one of those, to the other people there. She never stepped out of the role of Grand Dame. She never did. Karen, the person, where is she? You can't heal yourself by healing other people. That's called avoidance. It's called avoidance. And that's how we got to the point where you were using substances to help you cope. You have to be willing to rip off all of this, the makeup, the lashes, the wig, remove the Grand Dame, the title, and just be willing to, I'm tired. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of showing up for other people. I'm tired of being the strong Black woman. I'm ready to face my demons. I'm ready to face the things that have held me back. And maybe one of those things has been my marriage. I would not be surprised if in the coming months, Karen decides to move on from her relationship. It sounds like they've been having problems for quite some time. But you get to a point where you're at an age where what else am I going to do? I'm in my later years of life. Some people do start all over. Some people do end up getting married again. But I see the foundation of this isn't working for me, and it hasn't been for a long time. and maybe sit in that cell for 6 months showed me I need to let some things and some people go. But I also think that it would be very heavy, especially for her daughter, for her parents to not be together anymore. I wonder about the conversations woman to woman, not as a daughter, but just woman to woman that her and her daughter had. Because I could feel the bond has gotten closer. The bond with her son has strengthened. And the bond with her husband, I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay. I feel like her husband also stayed in his same role. Stayed in his same role. And I wonder if Karen is going to acknowledge that for real, that they've been having problems for quite some time. Are you in an open relationship? Do you see other people? I think it's time and it's an opportunity to finally get honest. And I think when people come out of these pivotal relationships, chapters, seasons of their life, prison, divorce, I think the one thing that's missing, similar to the Jenny Mai conversation, is true, authentic vulnerability without blame. I need these PR people to recognize and convince their clients that what the world wants from them is true, authentic vulnerability, and that's how people connect to you. Not keeping up the image, not placing blame on people, places, and things. But I think turning the mirror on yourself and talking about how I got here, the things I've been through. People can relate to those things. A lot of people have gone through the same things that Karen has, her children have, having to go see a parent in prison, trying to hold down the fort. Or maybe your daddy not really doing much, but you got to keep things going to keep the household alive. The pressures of that. The pressures of keeping up an image. How many of y'all have been keeping up an image for most of your life and you're tired? I don't think Karen is tired yet. I think she stepped out of prison off that Delta flight. Someone got her bags and she stepped right back into the life that she had a year and a half ago. 6 months to me was not enough for change. She was very comfortable. And I think they treated her like Karen the reality star. Or should I say, they treated her like the grand dame, not Karen the person. Okay. But I want to know you guys' thoughts. I just think that vulnerability is needed. True, authentic. And I'm not saying you got to be up here telling us everything, but there's a human side to Karen Huger that some of us want to see. Some of y'all don't care because either way, y'all just happy she coming back on the show. But I wonder if you would feel that same way when she was in that accident. She took a friend. She took your family member, somebody you knew. Okay. Forgiveness is given too easily. What does forgiveness look like? And should we be in a place where we need to forgive her? I'm not saying that either, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there was much time to really sit with my thoughts, what I did and how this affected other people. But Karen, like she said, she's 19 and emotionally stunted. She will forever be living in recovery. But me, an alcoholic, nah, cuz not me. I'm just going to be living in recovery the rest of my life. Does that equate to me being an alcoholic? No. Does that equate to me needing to go to AA? No. Because once again, I can go to NA because I can say, like a lot of people, I was given these substances by a doctor. Okay. AA makes you, I picked up the bottle. I consumed the alcohol. It wasn't given to me. I made a choice. Even though you make choices to take them other things, I think it's easier for people to blame doctors. And we should blame doctors. Because some of them are getting kickbacks that we've seen in all these movies, documentaries, Dope Sick, all of it. They are getting a kickback, okay? But of course, I want to know you guys' thoughts. Too soon? Are there really any repercussions? Is there room for growth? Yes, but will she take the opportunity to grow, or will she sit back and go right back in to sit on that couch in that red dress, having first seat? Okay. And is Bravo too eager to get these women who go to prison, go to jail, right back on the scene? And should we hold Karen to a standard that people are holding Jen Shaw? Just a question. Because Bravo picks and chooses who goes to prison and who gets released, and who gets to come back on the show. But I want to know from you guys who watch Bravo, who watch Teresa, Jen Shaw, the different women go to prison and come back and get right back on the scene. Why is it okay for some and other ones are like banished? Okay, from the round table. All right. But I'm Denise Brady. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the whole interview? Hit that like, subscribe. I love having conversations over here. Join my community. Have a seat on my couch. And as a therapist, you can do real healing. Take the cape off. Recognize you are human and you don't have to function as a robot anymore. All right. Bye. Hit that like button. Okay. Thank you.